So if you got a female dog you've been thinking about breeding, or you got a male dog you've been wanting to stud out, then today's video is for you. You may find a stud dog that you want to use, but if that breeder can't get you a quality sample in your girl's window of fertility, then nothing else matters. And that is why the breeder behind the stud dog is typically more important than the stud dog. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my process in offering stud service and teach you guys how to pull, pack, and ship a quality sample so you can offer professional stud service. So stay tuned. So from experience, I've learned how important the stud owner behind the stud dog truly is. I've had plenty of stud owners completely mess up my breedings, and it's not something you want to have to go through. You want to choose a stud owner who carries himself with professionalism and has an open schedule, someone who is fully committed to their dog program, not somebody who has to answer to a job, to a 9-to-5, not somebody who has other commitments, whether it's a needy wife or needy children. You need to deal with someone who's a dog breeder, who's someone who does this, because you have no idea when your girl is going to come into season, when she's going to be at her peak fertility. She could spike on you, and you need that stud owner to be able to jump when you need him to jump. You need him to do whatever it takes to get you that sample. So choosing the right stud owner, I can't stress enough how super important it is. So obviously as a client, you want to do your part too. You need to be in full communication with that stud owner, letting him know your progesterone levels of your female so that he can be ready, so that he can make himself as available as possible. But back to what I said, sometimes these girls, their numbers just jump, and you got to be able to jump too. So even if you're doing a live breeding, you got to make sure that breeder is going to be available if it's 11, 12 o'clock at night. I've done breedings at midnight. And if you're doing ship semen, it's even more important because we have to calculate in that time frame of the semen getting there, whether you're overnighting it or whether you're doing same day cargo shipment. Regardless, there's going to be a window of shipping. So you really got to get ahead of it. You really got to jump on it when that girl is in season or when that girl's in peak fertility. So today I'm going to share with you my process and some of the tips and tricks that I do on getting out a good quality sample to your client, because there are little things that you could do wrong that can completely kill the sample or just ruin the whole process. So if you are a new breeder and you have a male dog that you want to offer stud service and you don't know how to do this process, it's going to cost you a lot of money. I was recently just talking to a new breeder who got some action on her stud dog, but she doesn't know how to pull her dog. She doesn't know how to pack the sample. So for her to find a clinic, the closest clinic she could find was a 2-hour drive away. So 4-hour round trip. So again, we're adding on hours onto the process and aggravation and inconvenience for her. And then they charged her for this clinic to pull her dog, pack, and ship the sample. It was like $640 something. That's insane. That is insane. So now you either as the stud owner have to eat that price, which is gonna way eat into your margins, or you gotta pass that on to your client. So being able to pull your dog yourself, you're gonna save time, save convenience, and you're gonna have a higher margin on how much money you make, or you're just gonna be able to offer a better price to your clients because you don't have to tack on that repo service. So this is a very valuable technique to learn. So if you're new to the channel, my name is David Brown. I breed Cane Corsos, French Bulldogs, and Mini and Micro English Bulldogs. I have amazing upcoming Cane Corso studs. I have some up and coming Mini English Bulldog studs. But right now I'm going to show you my active working studs that I keep here. I have some others in guardian homes. You can find them on my website, bigbonebulldogs.com. Link will be down in the video description. But first let me show you my boy Micro Poe. He's a micro English Bulldog. He is super tiny. He stands at just over 10 inches and he is known for producing very small, correct puppies. So Micro Poe is open for stud. He's a blue tri, he carries chocolate, and if you have a bigger female and you're looking to produce minis or micros, this is your boy that's really gonna shrink down your program. Next, we got our boy Sirloin. And this is our top Frenchie stud. His name is Sirloin, and he has a date today that we're gonna ship out. Sirloin is a lilac and tan. He carries Rojo and Fluffy, so you can produce new Shade Isabellas, you can produce fluffy new Shade Isabellas, and since he's a non-Merle, he can be bred to any dogs, Merles or non-Merles. He's got extreme structure. Look at the muscle tone on this boy. He's an amazing boy. He's got a great ear set, even though they're pinned back right now. He's got really small ears. He's got a great personality. And today, he's got an out-of-town date. So we're going to be pulling Sirloin and sending off his sample today. All right, so let's go over what supplies you're going to need. You're going to need some gloves. Then you're going to need collection bags. You can get these collection bags here on Amazon. They're really simple to use. They're really cheap. Some people like to use a cup. Some people use Ziploc bags. I prefer these collection bags. I bought these cups, but I haven't quite used them yet. That could be a different way to do it. Then you're going to need your pipettes. You don't necessarily need. Sometimes I do like the pipettes to suck up the sample, because obviously you can get down to the bottom of the bag, but you can also rip off the top of the bag once you got the sample and then just go in with your syringe. But you're going to need a syringe, 3 ml, 5 ml. I think these are 5 mLs. 5 mLs is a good size to work with. And your collection tubes. So if you're sending out the sample, you're going to need the collection tubes to put the sample in. If you're doing in-house AIs, if you're about to breed the dog, I like to have the collection tubes so that I can put the sample in the centrifuge, spin it down, concentrate it, and a microscope. So if you're truly offering professional stud service, and if you're truly just doing things the right way, you want to look at that semen. So you're going to want to have a microscope, you're going to want to have your slides, your slide covers, so that after you pull the sample, you can put it in the scope, you can look at it, you can make sure they have swimmers, make sure the sample's good. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. So all this stuff you can find on Amazon really cheap. All right, so before you pull the dog, it's smart to let them go pee. Sirloin, I like to grab it and kind of turn back. He's going to come out, and you're just going to hold that gland. There's 3 stages. There's like a lubrication that comes out first. I like to let some of that come out. First, the gland's swollen, and I'm just gripping that gland and kind of pulling up slightly. Good boy. After that first stage of like lubrication comes out, the next is going to be your cloud. That's going to be your semen. And then after the semen, it's going to go into prostatic fluid. So a little trick you can do to kind of stimulate them a little more is kind of give them a little pinch right there. And if you can look in tight, you can see he's puckering. You can see his anus puckering, letting you know he's pumping. We're starting to get some cloud down here. That's what you want to see. Nice, thick, white, and that's the actual semen. He'll do this for about 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and then after that, it's going to go into prostatic fluid. Now, you're going to get those breeders that like to brag about, hey, I got 5 mLs, my dog got 10 mLs. I can hold him for the next 10 minutes and get 10 mLs if I want, but it's pointless. Once you get into that third stage I talked about, the prostatic fluid is garbage. You don't need that. The longer you hold, the more prostatic fluid you're going to get. So you really only need to hold your dog for about 2 minutes. Once you see it go to that clear, you can stop, especially if you don't have a centrifuge. If you don't have a centrifuge, you really want to catch just that middle stage. If you do have a centrifuge, it's a lot easier. You don't have to worry about the first stage, and you don't have to worry about too much prostatic fluid because you can spin it down, get that pellet, and remove some of that prostatic fluid. That way you truly concentrate the sample. I want to kind of show you what we got going on. So you see this gland right here? That knot? That's what we got in there and we grabbed. So we got up in there, we kind of pulled the sheath back, and you want that knot to swell up outside of the sheath. It's important that that knot gets outside. So we got in there, we grabbed that, and we pulled back and up. And then you're squeezing that knot. You're just squeezing that knot real tight, simulating like he's inside the vagina. And then you're kind of doing a little bit of an up pull, and you see the puckering. That's him. It's him pulsating. It's a hard technique to explain. It's something you just gotta try. You just gotta get hands on, and you just gotta try it, and you just gotta do it. So hopefully that helps you understand, but you're just getting in there, you're grabbing it, and you're kind of pulling back, and that helps it come up out, and you want it to get out and expand outside of that sheath. And then when you're done, so bam, he's back away, that's good. You want that penis to get back inside. You don't want him to scrape it, hurt it. And we have our nice collection right here. All right, so now we're gonna get our semen collection out of the bag into a vial. Little trick I like to use since we're not doing an AI, just kind of shorten that. We got our collection. Make sure we got it all down there. Nice thick cloud, that's what we want to see. Bam, one little drop. Really nice, almost 2 mLs, but straight cloud. I avoided that first stage and I avoided that third stage. So anybody trying to be like, oh, that dog only gave you blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's because I avoided all that fluid. Look how thick that is. Super cloudy. So you can see the semen's alive. Heavy, high motility. It's attacking. This is what you want to see. So now we've verified that we have live semen. We can even I'll do a video time stamping it. All right, sirloin collection, March 27th. Semen's looking good, and it's about to be on its way to Massachusetts. Now, meanwhile, we're gonna use extender. So I had already taken the semen extender. I'll pop the light on here. We good? I already took the semen extender out of the fridge. This is stored in the fridge, so it's cold. So this is another very important step, that this is cold, this is warm. If we put these two together right now, it's going to shock it and it's going to kill the semen. So it's very important that you mix these at the same temperature. So that's what we're going to do next. I had this on my waistline to bring it up to body temperature. This obviously came out at body temperature. So I've been trying to warm this up slowly, not too fast. And we're going to do a 1-to-1 ratio. So we got 2 mLs of semen. We're going to do 2 mLs of extender. The extender just obviously does that. It extends the life of the semen because we're shipping it. I used the Hoke 10-day extender. You can get this at breedersupplies.com. I'll go ahead and put a link down in the video description. The Hoke extender I really like because it's a RTU, ready to use. A lot of other extenders on the market, you have to mix them. You have to mix them, and then they only work for a certain amount of time when they're mixed. So then you got to freeze it, and it just adds way more inconvenience to the process. So we're going to remove 2 mLs of extender. So we have a little more than 2 mLs, about 3 in there because of the pipette. That's not a big deal. Some people do 2-to-1. You can easily do a 2-to-1 ratio, which would have been like 4, but a little more extender, not a big deal. It just works for the better. So I'm not worried about that. So we got our extender, we got our semen. Now we want to combine them together without shocking it. So we have a cup of water. This water is obviously one temperature. So if we put these in here together, it's going to slowly bring both of these to that same temperature, which is what we want to do. So we're going to leave it in here for a few minutes so that they even out on their temperature, and then we'll slowly mix them together without shocking the semen. So you guys can see how this could easily get messed up by someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So, like I said, the breeder behind the stud often is way more important than the stud dog. So now we're going to go ahead and mix the extender with the semen. I don't have an exact temperature on this. I do like warm water. It doesn't matter. It just matters that you bring them both to the same temperature. I don't have an exact time on how long you do it, 5 or 10 minutes, just long enough so that the temperatures can even out. Pipette. So I knew there was a reason I don't always cut it. Not a big deal. Pipettes are cheap. Let's go. All right. So I am going to pull the extender out and mix it in to the semen. And I'm just gonna slowly drip it. So just little tips and tricks I'm sharing with you. And this, really taking pride in what you're doing and making sure you're gonna get your client a good sample that doesn't spill. So we have the sample secured. We have our box. We're gonna send this chilled, not frozen, chilled. This was in the freezer. I just recently took it out of the freezer. Sometimes you have a little cuff you put it in. You can take some pool noodles, a thin pool noodle. I don't have one for this box, but that's perfectly fine. We have our sample in there. We got our freezer pack. Top it off. Get it in tight. And again, we're gonna take that extra measure to really make sure this is tight, secured. And now we're gonna head off to FedEx to do an overnight shipping. This will go right to the client's clinic and they'll have it tomorrow morning so they can do their insemination. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the other end of this process. Let's talk about it from the client's perspective and what I expect out of a client. So first things first, with a stud, you should always lock in. Now there's gonna be haters that don't like to lock in or talk down on locking in. So let me go over why locking in is important. A few different reasons. When you lock in a stud ahead of time, you are securing that stud's rate. It is very typical for stud dogs as their career progresses for the price to go up. So if you lock in, you're locking in that price point. So if the stud does go up in price, you are locked in at a certain price. A stud fee lock-in is typically going to be around $250, $500. I normally do about a $250 lock-in on most of my dogs. I try to keep the lock-in fee low. A lot of other breeders do $500. Some dogs I do $500. But anyways, your lock-in fee locks you in at that price point. It also gives you priority. So if it's a working stud dog that, is in high demand, other dogs might come into season at the same time your dog does. So if it does, the priority is going to be whoever locked in first. Whoever has that earliest lock-in, that dog is going to get a little more priority over the next dog. As a breeder, a stud owner, you're still going to make sure you can do the best to serve all your clients and give them the best and do whatever you got to do to make it happen. But at the end of the day, the earliest lock-in gets the best priority. Also, it just allows that stud owner to be ready. So now once you have your lock-in, as soon as that dog comes into season, as soon as that dog comes into heat, as soon as you see blood or swelling, you're going to reach out to the stud owner and you're going to say, hey, my dog is in heat. Now the stud owner knows that there's going to be a breeding upcoming. So now he can increase supplements. He can change that dog's diet around so that it can produce a better sample. So that leads me right into a trick I can give you guys as stud owners. So there's supplements like the NuVet Plus multivitamin. I use this multivitamin on all my dogs just for nutrition. It's good for your females for post and prenatals, and it's good for your stud dogs for extra semen production. So you can get them, if you don't already have them on that, you can get them on a supplement like the New Vet Plus, and then a treat, a little dinner that I like to make the dogs when I know they have dates is I like to do either tuna or sardines, preferably sardines, the ones that are already in olive oil, sardines, extra virgin olive oil, and hard-boiled eggs. And you mix that up and you feed that to the dog during that week that the female is in heat and she's getting ready. And that's going to help all the omegas and fatty acid, omega-3s, omega-6s, fats and stuff is going to really help that dog produce a better sample. So this is why you don't just contact a stud owner last minute. You have a lock-in and you communicate throughout the process. So at 7 days, they should do a progesterone test. They need to go back to the breeder, let them know the numbers, and then stay in communication. So today I got the text that the dog was at a number of fertility and that they need the sample tomorrow. So now that's why we pulled the sample today, and we're going to ship it out overnight to the client's clinic, and they should get a good sample right at the peak window of fertility so that they can get a successful breeding. All right, so we're at FedEx, and another little hack here is when you use their shipping box, you get a lower rate. It's cheaper than you get a discounted rate instead of having it in one of those breeder boxes. And these fit perfect in their large size box. Another thing you're gonna wanna do is open up an account with them. Open up your FedEx account, it's gonna save you money out there. So we're gonna get this packaged, shipped out to the clients. All right, so now let's talk about what would have happened if, say it was Sunday, or if it was even Saturday. You wouldn't be able to use FedEx because Saturday, they're not open on Sunday. So they might be open on Saturday, but they can't deliver on Sunday, right? So you'd have to send it out Saturday and get like a Monday delivery. But let's say their dog is ready, you need to get it to them. So another service I offer is same day shipping, freight shipping, but that is not to the doorstep. What I just did is to any address they give me. Freight shipping is going to be from airport to airport, but that's another option that I offer to my clients. So I use Southwest Air Cargo, and it can go from, I have to take an hour drive to Orlando, which is a little bit of an inconvenience for me, but I make it happen. So I go to Orlando, the Southwest Air Cargo, and then I can look at the flight schedules and I can get that box on a flight directly to another Southwest hub. So the client now also has to go to the airport, but it allows me to get them a shipment on the days where FedEx could be closed. So that's another option that I have when offering my stud service, and another option you guys can take advantage of for providing good stud service for your clients. So hopefully you guys now have a good idea of my process. If you're looking for stud service for your Cane Corso, French Bulldog, or Mini or Micro English Bulldog, you know who to call. If you're an aspiring breeder that wants to offer stud service, hopefully I did a good job of walking you guys through it so that now you can offer this same quality of stud service to your clients. This is the kind of good information we put out on this channel. We do uploads every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So I'll see you guys next week.